Good morning. We're starting the Chok Israel Shoftim, the Yom Shishi Shoftim for Friday. Please join, or please be silent. Musar. We're in the Musar Sefer Hasidim. Look at this interesting story the Sefer Hasidim tells us about this morning. Be'ir achat hayta kehila gedola v'hayu ashirim. There was a certain city, huge city, and there were some very, very wealthy individuals. Umehamat oshram mitgaim v'lo hayu oskim batorah k'debai lehon lemevad v'haya sham zaken echad v'chacham. So we're talking about a city. The city was a big city, and there were some very, very wealthy, prominent, important individuals who, because of their importance and their wealth and their very comfort, they were being very lax with the observance of the Torah and the mitzvot, tefillot, and they weren't even accepting rebuke from the Chachamim. But there was one wise old man. There's always in a story one wise old man, right?
Otherwise, it's not a store.
Are you the wise old man?
I'm trying not to be.
So old, yes. Wise. What about? You're on camera. Be careful.
I have hair.
Whoa.
Did you ever see a non-intelligent?
This is who we're talking about. The wise old man. Okay. Amar lahem, the wise old man told them. He told the wealthy people who were ignoring their duties and obligations towards God. De'u lachem, you should know for yourselves, im lo tit'aseku batorah. Look at the first thing. He says, if you don't learn Torah, v'tachzeru bachem tameh ani im lo tehera va'ir. And you don't do teshuvah, if you don't learn Torah, you don't do teshuvah, I would be in wonder. I would be bewildered if this city will not be destroyed. He says it's obvious that it should be destroyed if you're acting such. Kol zman she'oto zaken hai. As long as this old wise man was living, bizchuto lo na'asa davar. Everything was good for them. Kisheniftar ve'halach le'olamo. When he passed away, Ba melech echad. So this old wise man passed away, and one king, a ruler, an oppressor, he came, v'dahak et ha'ir, v'natenu et hashelish al pi hashvuah, ve'amar lahem, hishave'u li b'toratchem shenatatem li mikol mamonchem shlish. He came, and now he introduced possibly the worst type of tax. He came and he said, not only what you've been taxed on, but now we're going to institute a brand new tax. All money is eligible for this tax. 1/3 of all of your net worth has to come to me, to the government. That's pretty bad.
Like America.
Like when you move in?
Huh?
When you move in, when you move out, which way? Both.
Working here.
No, but this is after.
Okay.
This is besides for the regular tax they had. He came on and now he instituted a new tax. A one-time, 1/3 of complete, complete ownings?
Equity.
A third of equity tax. And he made them swear. He not only obligated them, he made them swear on the Torah that they are being faithful and giving it. So he knew what he was doing. Ba'u rochlim ve'amru lamelech she'itminu tachat karka kesafam. Kisafim. A peddler, a snitch. A snitch is the proper. He came and he snitched to the king and he told them that the Jews, they gave you an exorbitant amount of money, but they hid some money. They dug a hole and they hid it over there. Amar lahem, the king came and told the Jews, Avartem al toratchem v'nishbatem lasheker. Not only have you insulted me, which is bad enough, the king says, you went against your own Torah and your own God. You swore falsely. V'cholcham b'shivya v'chriv ha'ir lekayem et divrei hazaken ki dichtiv mekim devar avdo. And he went, he destroyed that city, just as that wise old man said.
זה באמת כספם או שזה
Whether it happened or whether they dug it up and they hid it or not, that's not the point. The point is the zaken, the wise old man, warned them.
Predict.
He warned. It was a simple prediction. It was nothing special. It was nothing out of the blue. We have it mifurash clear in the Torah that when you get too comfortable. And you get too comfortable with the way of life and with one's parnasah and no feel or the need to grow, then lo aleinu, bad things come and happen. So the Zaken warned them. He told them, guys, learn Torah, open a kollel, come to the kollel, learn in the kollel, come to tefillot, give tzedakah, do what you have to do to be a good Jew, because if not, it would be destroyed. And that's what happened. Now, there's another concept that he brings down. He says over here, Yesh harigat dever o herev shelo nigzar ela lechalot hamamzerim. So, there are certain types of plagues, epidemics, or even destructions of cities, and even people dying, that is only to the merit or to the dismerit of the mamzerim that are in that city, of the bastards, those who were born to an illicit relationship. Now, just to clarify, that means a married woman, lo alenu, that has a child or a relationship with any other man except her husband. That is the clear definition of a mamzer. And as we know, a mamzer is not welcome to enter and to marry into a regular Jewish family. They have one and one tikkun only, to marry another mamzer, meaning a mamzer and a mamzeret have to forever. It's
endless.
It's horrible. The only way to end it is for a mamzer to marry a mamzeret.
And the newborns
is completely good. Completely good. Now you're going to ask me, hey, why so? There's right. But there's a bigger question. Before you ask me, hey, how come could you cancel it out? The bigger question is, why is the kid punished? They didn't do anything. Joel, did you choose who your parents were? No. Your grandparents? You can't. Nobody can choose who they're born to. Barry, did you choose to be born to an Ashkenaz family?
But the neshama before she's coming.
But this neshama.
You wanted to be Sephardic.
But the neshama before she coming, like the show, who's going to be the parents, and they
have a choice. Maybe al pi Kabbalah, al pi pshat. There's another. Okay,
not called neshama. It depends how high is the neshama. Normally, it's for autistic kids. That's what I heard. By Kabbalistic, it's not for autistic.
They're able to choose.
Have a high level neshama or kids with disabilities. They choose their family.
I know that I know that every neshama before she coming, that they're showing her everything, like the parents and everything, and
with a choice.
And I don't know, like with the
choice.
That's
the point. That's the point.
But they're showing like they're showing like everything before like she coming down.
זה מאה אחוז. אבל choice, אין לך, you don't have a choice to choose who your parents are going to be. So now, that's the bigger question. How come is this mamzer penalized and now he can't marry into a regular Jewish family? What's the answer? Answers as follows. How come is the mamzer punished? He didn't do anything. His mother messed up.
He's not punished, it's tikkun.
No, before the tikkun. He has a tikkun. But before the tikkun, why is he punished? What did he do?
What do you mean before? Before the tikkun, he had another tikkun.
No, like this. A mamzer.
Born mamzer.
Born mamzer. He didn't choose to be.
I know.
But you're saying it's his neshama's tikkun.
Everything is neshama.
Okay, good. But however, in this, yes.
Why my son born like this?
Yes.
Same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Mechus.
tikkun from Olam before, and he chose to that.
Yeah.
Not always every mamzer. I don't know if mamzer have to choose because.
So that's one answer. I will never. I won't disagree with that answer because it's a valid answer. I'll give another approach, which maybe is a little more palatable. Is that it's really a musar, a rebuke, and a warning
for the parents.
For parents to know that their actions have repercussions. That even something that you would say, listen, a father can do whatever he wants, a mother can do whatever she wants, and the kids have their own life to decide. That's for most things.
But that's the punch for the parents.
Let me one thing at a time. parents, fathers and mothers, they sometimes feel like, yeah, I can do whatever I want, and my child, they can choose the life they want. For some things that works, but the Torah teaches us for some things that does not work. For some things there are repercussions. There is a cause and effect, and the cause and effect for an illicit relationship, chas v'shalom, is that the child is now a mamzer even against his will. Now, since we're using that concept, we give him a leeway. We give him a way out. We give him a way that he's able to marry a similar neshama, a similar child in the same scenario, which their parents messed up, and they're able to make a tikkun, and their children are completely pure, as if nothing happened.
Basically, the parents being punished. And the kids being
The
punished.
kid and the
So
parents.
where is
The kid's being punished on account of the parents.
אבות אכלו בוסר, שני בנים תכהנה.
For sure.
Okay, that's it. Look at it that way.
That's that way, but there is another way.
What?
Yes, there's definitely more.
but
That's
that's
nothing to do with it.
No, it is.
The
parents,
What?
the parents have their own punish, but the
It's
kids
embarrassing
have his own
also.
punish.
They obviously didn't care to begin with.
People don't think. No, but really, all sin comes from not thinking rationally. If a person, Ruach Shtut nichnas bo, the Gemara says, if a person is sitting, he's in front of a book, he's learning Hilchot Lashon Hara, someone that's very, very far or disconnected is going to jump and speak Lashon Hara right now. You're learning Lashon Hara, and then I say, hey, Moises, we're in the middle, we have the book Chafetz Chaim open. Moises, you know this guy, One of us are going to stop each other. So any sin that a person does is because they're not thinking completely rationally. And that of a relationship is a great temptation. A person does not think of what's going to be. Is she going to get pregnant? Is she not going to get pregnant?
There's so many ways to punish the parent rather than...
How are you going to punish him? You're going to bring him to Beit Din and kill him? Well, in the time there was a sultan, there was that. If she was caught,
So everybody,
she was executed.
Now, is
כולם, כל אחד הוא מושפע, אנחנו הרי אבל אותו בן אדם שבא לעולם הוא גם מבין
considered an equal part of the community outside of that?
הבנתי, אבל בכל מקרה שאנחנו מסתכלים
Is he an equal part of the community?
Is that the only thing that's...
במה ג' יוצא?
Meaning, can you get an aliyah and stuff?
Yeah.
That's a good question. הרב, נותנים עלייה לממזר? עלייה לתורה? מה? נהגו שלו? מנהג נתו?
Today, there's
You won't know.
there is no
Everybody will
control
do it all.
today.
Bet with you there's mamzerim went up. Who knows?
Who knows?
Really? But who knows?
Well, who knows? It's not even recent. It could be from...
Exactly, from 3, 4, 5, 6, 8
listen,
generations
that-
before.
Still
You don't know.
not clear because they
Except
didn't
because
make-
he didn't the tikkun.
That's the reason why when we marry off our children, we look very, very extensively into
How far?
as far as you
How are you going to
could.
know that?
As far as you
How are you
could.
going to know that?
Even then, what do you know?
You could know. No, because you don't rely on the previous.
Today is impossible,
How
Rabbi.
do you know what the mother did? What do you
I don't know. Come on.
I know.
You could.
רבנו. רבי מאיר בננס
But
בדק
that's-
את אשתו וכמעט נהרג.
So that's why you marry into an observant family, which is not recent. It's also previous. So you know. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
but-
what it is. It's you marry an observant lineage or not.
That's 10-15% of
not
the
that
Jewish
you don't
people.
know. It's all for
What about the whole?
If you get it, you deserve it.
יש ספר יוחסין, Book of All Generation.
בארץ.
Because that, כי אם אתה תיתן לו לעלות רגיל, ואתה יודע שהוא ממזר, מחר הוא יתחתן עם רגיעה, אמרו, יביא מכתב הרב, כן, יתפלל אצלנו, הוא היה ככה. אז יודעים, אם יודעים ומכירים, אז לא נותנים לו בשביל שלא להכשיר את הקרקע למישהו.
אם יודעים, אבל הם
כן,
טוענים
אבל
שלא
לא
יודעים.
אין הלכה, התורה לא אמרה שצריכים לחפש, זה לא כמו, אפילו גם אחרי המלאקי, שמצווה להחרים אותו, הגמרא במסכת קידושין פרק רביעי אומרת שדי, כבר התבלבלו הדורות, ואי אפשר לזהות. אז אין מצווה לזהות. אבל אם יש לך, מישהו אומר לך שהוא שושלת, ודאי שהוא מצרי או אדומי או ממזר. יש לי בחור פה בפלורידה שהוא במפורש. אמרתי לו, למה אתה לא הולך על יהודייה? וזה. הוא אמר לי, הרב, מה אני אעשה? אמא שלו סיפרה לו באוזן שאולי.
וואו.
והוא יודע בתוך עצמו שהוא ממזר.
וואו.
ולכן הוא התחתן עם גיורת. הוא אומר לי, אני לא...
גיורת cancels it out? מתקן ממזר?
היא יכולה להתחתן. ממזר לא יבוא בקהל השם.
רבנו, אני קצת
אבל זה לא קהל
סקפטי,
השם.
אתה חושב שהוא התחתן איתה בגלל שהוא עשה איזה מצווה?
לכתחילה, לא. בגלל מצווה.
כאילו לא רצה להתחתן עם יהודיה בשביל זה?
זה אם הוא יודע, הוא אמר שזה בין היתר.
בין היתר. לא מכיר את הבן
Look
אדם.
how many Americans go to do Aliyah to Israel. They become religious, and after 4, 5, 6 generations, who will know?
Listen, on one hand, there's no way to tell.
Tienen un montón de gente de Irak y cosas, yo no even know dónde está.
Well, listen, on one way, there's no way to tell. On the other way, on another hand, if certain families that were always observant, that, some people can trace themselves back 10 generations. Some people can, you trace yourself back to one person, and then that person leads you back to the Maharal Prague, to Rashi, all the way back. So there is ways to trace yourself back, and then we expect there are more chances than not that things were done right.
Okay, let's take a whole country like Russia, when they demolished and destroyed and all these other things. The guys coming to you and said, "I'm Jewish." According to what?
Okay, that's a different story. This is Mamzerut. That's Jewish. That's Jewish.
No, Mamzerut. Let's call it Mamzerut. It doesn't matter. How are we going to look at it in this perspective, from here and there, and give him
It's very hard. That's why often.
What about
That's why often there's.
Rabbi? I have a question. I have a question. What about a kid that was born from a I won't say
A couple that wasn't married?
a prohibited relationship, but they were goyim. That kid convert to Judaism.
Convert a new guy, no?
No problem.
New life.
New life. Good. It's a good question. Okay, so the concept that
זה נשמה שקמה לעולם לחזור. הקדוש ברוך הוא,
when we do weddings, when we do bris, when we do. So that's why people that are connected are known. People, that's it's hard. It's not clear, but that's easy. Okay, so what he says is sometimes there are certain cities or certain places that deserve to only be destroyed or plagued because of the mamzerim, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is hurt, is angry that there are mamzerim over there. But in order not to embarrass, look at that. Even though the families have sinned, Hashem is still worried with their embarrassment. In order not to embarrass and to single out who they were, therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes a swipe. It cleans out more than needed, which is serious. Yeah. In order not to embarrass. Okay, I'll say another thing.
The one that was there, they have the reason.
Yeah, you'll see too, because they live. We don't
even know how. It's
another thing is that it's not. It would be not. It would be playing with our free will if HaKadosh Baruch Hu came and he wiped out only the mamzerim and the mamzerim families. That's playing with our free will, because then it's obvious. If you sinned, you have an immediate punishment. And a clear explanation for it. If you didn't sin, not. In the world that we live nowadays, stuff is not that clear that we know why and what exactly good and bad things happen. So on top of his reason of not embarrassing, we could also say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it for that reason, of not making it obviously clear who sinned and got punished and who did good and was rewarded, because that's not the way the world that we live in works. We don't know those calculations. Okay, another thing he says. ועוד, יש הריגה לפי שאבות הכשרים לא עשו סייג לדבר. Another reason why there could be a plague, an epidemic, war, death, is because the parents and grandparents, even though they were kasher, meaning they married Jews, no mamzerim, but they didn't make enough of a precaution for illicit relationships, and that led their children to sinning with that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes a big wipeout also. Again, you have grandparents, parents, everyone is kosher, everyone is Jewish, everyone is only having relationship with their own spouse, no mamzerim. But they didn't impress that importance enough on their children for their children not to sway off and to have illicit relationships. Therefore, Hashem makes also a big wipeout. Even though the parents were kasher, as he says. Okay? Next.
That's just in the
I
case
think it's
that
in
the
the same
kids
relation.
did the prohibited relation. If they didn't do
Right.
it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. וכתיב, במקום אשר תשחט העולה, תשחט החטאת.
That's on the same relation,
It's
right?
it's
So
a
what
play
is
on
it?
the pasuk at the same place that those who've sinned will be slaughtered at the Beit Hamikdash, meaning like tishachet hachatat, also tishachet ha'olah. One who's completely devoted to HaKadosh Baruch Hu will unfortunately also sometimes be taken down with those who have sinned and that
זה
are coming
נקרא
down.
העולה.
Exactly. Again, it's a play on the words. That's not pashut pshat in the pasuk. The obvious explanation of the pasuk is the same place that an olah is brought up. An olah meaning it was completely slaughtered and burnt up is the same place where a chatat, a sin offering, was brought. Now, a play on that pasuk on our concept is the same place that people who've sinned will pass away. Often and sometimes even people who have not sinned, people who are considerably an olah, completely connected with Hashem, could also be taken with.
And what's the difference between olah and olah is voluntary and chatat you have to?
No, they both no. Olah is also an obligation. However, an olah would be, let's say, the tamid.
Just more pure.
No, that's not. It's a different concept. Olah is an obligation, whether a person sinned or
Every
not.
day.
Is it on a daily basis?
Okay.
A chatat was someone who sinned.
Olah is the community. Chatat is personal.
Yes. Okay.
But it's daily.
זה רק רמז, הפסוק הזה. זה לא-
כן, זה מה
שאלתי
שהסברתי.
את ההבדל בין עולה
זה רק רמז, כן.
עולה זה לכולם?
לא, עולה הוא מוכתר כליל. כל הבהמה עולה כולה.
כן, זה מה שהסברתי.
חטאת זה עליו. קודם כל חטאת זה על עבירה. עולה זה לא על עבירה.
עולה, זה ההבדל, עולה זה לא על עבירה וחטאת זה לא.
אדם שעשה חטא, הוא חטא, אז מביא קורבן חטאת. אבל, כאילו במקום העולה, זה מקום החטאת. כאילו, איפה שאתה, עולה זה גם כן לשון עלייה. איפה שדבר המעולה, לכן כל הקורבן עולה כולו יחד.
אולי זה לא על חטאים.
איפה שהצדק, הרשע. אדם צריך לעשות סייג, הוא לא יכול לבוא ולערבב זה וזה ביחד.
זה הבנו, אבל עולה זה דפקטלי לא על חטאים, זה כאילו רק בשביל הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Exactly. Okay, next. וכתיב.
תחילה.
במקום הצדק שמע הרשע. Same idea that at the place that there is righteousness, there's also evil, meaning there's always a mixture of Yetzer HaTov and Yetzer Hara, but this also leads to punishment. Ve'od she'en nichsherim ladur be'ir im harasha'im. Righteous people should not live in the same city with wicked people, because then you become like that. Ve'chen kama mamon ne'evad she'yishno im mamon shenasa be'avla. There's also a lot of money, honest, hard-worked money, is also lost when it gets mixed up, or you live in the same area as the Shaim who acquire their money in an illegal or inappropriate manner. כדכתיב, בהתחברך לאחיזהו פרץ השם את מעשיך וזהו יש נספה בלא משפט. Okay, moving on to the halacha for the day. It's been a little while that we're speaking about tying knots and untying knots on Shabbat. Today the Rambam is also telling us, besides for tying and untying knots, again, permanent professional knots is the Torah obligation, and if it's permanent and not professional, or professional not permanent, it's a rabbinical prohibition. However, the Rambam today tells us making rope, twisting, twining, however you want to call it, rope, is also prohibited to be done on Shabbat. That's the first halakha he speaks about. We'll read it quickly. The second, once I'll explain. No, I'm talking twining, or meaning creating rope. I'm talking creating a rope.
Okay.
Creating a rope is prohibited to do on Shabbat, as well as sewing is prohibited to do on Shabbat. Hapotel chavalim min ha'utzin u'min ha'chilaf, או מחוטי צמר, או מחוטי פשטן, או חוטי שיער, וכיוצא בין, הרי זה תולדת כושר וחייב. It's all a rabbinical deviation of subcategory of tying a knot. However, it is all prohibited to create with all these different types of palm leaves, plant stalks, wool fibers, flax fibers, hair, and any of the like to create a rope. Okay? It is a subcategory derivative of tying a knot. Okay? Which makes sense, right? Because you're tying it into each other.
לא, מתי זה קשר?
ושיעורו כדי שיעמוד החייל בתפילתו בלא כשירה. So how much, if I make one little loop, is that good enough to now obligate and say it's a prohibition that I've created? No. It's got to be you've made some type of loop or some type of twist or twine that it stays like that without tying the ends with a knot. So if you do, for imagine something this long, it's probably going to untie depending on the material. You do something longer, the ends will kind of unravel, but the middle will stay firm as a rope, and that is when you go over the prohibition of creating a rope. Now, v'chen hamafrid et hapetil, also undoing any type of rope or string, any thread. Harezeh toldat matir v'chayav v'hu shelo yitkaven lekalkel bilvad v'shiuro keshiur hapoter. If one's doing it only to destroy, to throw stuff out, then that is not an issue. But if the main issue is it's like when you tie, the problem is untying. It's also related to the retying. So when you're just messing around, for example, with tzitzit, I'm not saying to do this because it's not kavod, it's not right. But if you're just messing around with it and it's unraveling, that's not specifically an isur. If you're doing it on purpose, then that is more the issue. Next halakha, talking about it's a completely different halakha that we spoke about previously. It's a completely different halakha that we spoke about previously, but in your honor, we will quickly just repeat it, that tying shoelaces on Shabbat is completely permitted because it's not a permanent knot and it's not a professional knot. Good? Moving on. Hatofer shete tefirot. Chayav. One who sews two, what's the word? Weaves, loops, right? In a garment is chayav, meaning it's a Torah prohibition. It's when you tie the thread on both sides so that it's firm. Because then it allows it to actually stay there. Right? If you do two loops, you move the garment a little bit and it unravels right away, that would be nothing. But if there's a knot on the sides, then that secures it and that would be the prohibition. Aval im tafar yeter al shte tefirot. If you did more than two loops, you did three or more, even though you did not tie, chayav. Why? Because now now that sewing is more fixated, it's more permanent, it stays there, and it's more of a real sew. Next concept, which is probably pretty practical for us. So, anybody, sometimes it happens in ties, it happens in suits, that sometimes a string is pulled, and the whole thing looks like what's it called? Like a saxophone almost. Not a saxophone. An accordion. It looks like it's all bunched up together. By not even if you pull the string, but just by you pulling the garment and straighten everything out, one's not allowed to do that on Shabbat, because that is, as the Rambam explains, mitzorchei hatefira. It is part of the needs of sewing. It's too similar to the idea of sewing. So that's something that we have to make notes. I'll just mention one thing on that same concept. It's sometimes hard to fulfill, but it's an interesting halakha. There's a inyan to wear the same clothes all Shabbat long. Okay? Or I'll give you a better idea. There's also a prohibition, so that's an inyan, we'll speak about it, but there's a prohibition to clean any garments on Shabbat. Libun is a Torah prohibition to launder any clothes on Shabbat. Yeah. So you're sitting now, and you're eating your Shabbat salads, and you end up wearing your Shabbat salads, whether it's your own fault or the fault of God bless the children. And one of the worst things to get on your suit, if anyone knows, besides for oil and maducha, I'd say hummus. Hummus, let's say it's not Shabbat. Why? It's not Shabbat because hummus, when you try to rub it out, it leaves like this
crust.
Not only like a crust, but it's like this. It leaves something. It stays in there. Yeah, maducha, shemen, all of the, no matter what it is. Right. Now, cleaning that on Shabbat is completely prohibited. So if it's something that's got extremely dirty and it's already not kavod Shabbat, so yeah, change it. But not obviously, don't clean it. But there is something to be said. This is not halakha psuka. This is just something for us to think about. There is something to be said about being proud of being a little dirty on Shabbat. Not as a disrespect, but as a feeling of, I am fulfilling the halakha of not laundering the clothes. Laundering could be however it needs to be done. Meaning, using water on the garment, completely prohibited. If you have a chunk of hummus that falls on your suit, you're allowed to take off the chunk part. You're allowed to take a thing and wipe off, and you'll make more of a mess anyways, whatever the case is, and take off the main part. But after that initial wipe, after you take off the main part, anything that's now embedded and that's in the garment, you have to leave. You can't even rub it out with that water. You can't take water and rub it out, or soap or anything. Or you know how you have your safta come over and she quickly put salt on it and say, leave it, don't clean it, but leave it for later. That's asur. You're not allowed to do that on Shabbat. So there's something to be said about wearing a garment that's, I'd say, partially dirty on Shabbat and feeling that you are observing, not cleaning the garment on Shabbat, and also fulfilling the concept of wearing the same Shabbat clothes all Shabbat long. So similarly, if one has something, let's say a tie that's pulled thread, it's not ideal, it's not enjoyable, but if it's slightly pulled and it's not something drastic, wearing it with pride and saying, I'm not going against the prohibition of pulling it, which I'm not supposed to, as we learned, in order, and wearing that with pride for Shabbat. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.